I start this video, I would like to announce a spoiler alert. If you're not caught up on the show or have watched it in the entire show, you have been warned that there are probably gonna be spoilers in this episode. Alright, now let's get on with it. Welcome back, fellow YouTubers, it's Arcus here, and in this episode we're gonna take a closer look at the sitcom How I Met Your Mother. So, this sitcom How I Met Your Mother is centered around 6 characters that are friends and they live in Manhattan, New York. And it plays off their lives. They sort of have the same concept as Friends, you would say. I would say the two shows are actually quite similar because they're centered around a group of friends that hang out in their lives. I mean, only difference is really How I Met Your Mother, as it is in the title. Throughout the entire show, it's how Ted met his wife, and he's telling this story to his future kids. So you sort of get this, you have a narrator saying and telling all of these stories that go back and forth from the beginning to the end. So the show went on for 9 seasons, and I actually liked it. And I mean, I didn't have a problem with that they dragged it out for that long. I mean, for some people that might have been a problem because in the earlier seasons you didn't get that much information about the mother as a whole. It was about him telling their children how he dated a bunch of other people and how certain events led up to the next one and so on. I mean, I felt like, yeah, they sort of dragged it out a long way. And I mean, in the middle of the show when I watched it, I even forgot what the main show was actually about, because you didn't get that much information about the mother. It's only in the ending of the 8th season that they actually announce who the mother is. So this show has probably one of the best secrets kept throughout the entire show of who this person actually is, because they didn't cast her until the ending of the 8th season. And before this, you did not really know that much about her. You knew some facts, that what she liked and how her personality was, but you had no character descriptions or whatever. So it's one of the best secrets kept in television, because the ending of the entire show was filmed during the first season, just so that the children would be the same age, in the beginning to the end, because otherwise it would look weird, because there's 9 or 10 years apart from the first to the last season. So they knew how the show would end from the first season throughout the entire show, and they even stuck with that ending in the end, which I absolutely hated. And I know a lot of people hated this ending as well, because it was all about how, in their ending, the first ending that they created, the mother died from, I don't know if it's some illness that she got, so she died. And they had played through the entire show, and the entire 9th season is about how this person is absolutely perfect for Ted. They have so many things in common, and this really makes you wanna love this person, because they portray her in such a really good way that she's the perfect match for Ted. And then all of a sudden, in the last episode, they just says that she got killed by an illness, and then it's all about how Ted should end up with Robin, because in the entire 9th season is about how Robin and Barney are getting married, and they sort of are the perfect match for each other as well. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 episodes of the 9th season, they just screw everything up. I mean, they have Robin and Barney, they drift apart, and the mother dies, so all of a sudden Ted's alone, and they want him to pursue and get back together with Robin. And I completely hated this ending. It was complete garbage. I mean, I was so furious when it ended that they left it this way. And I mean, a lot of people were on the internet as well, and I know it. So therefore, I know they got so much hate from this ending that they actually made another ending that they released on the DVD and Blu-ray release. And when I watched this episode, they had sort of cut it in a different way, so that they ended with Ted and the mother when they were meeting at the end at the wedding at Farhampton, and they sort of ended the show there, which I thought was perfect, because that should have been the original ending in the beginning. So I was glad that they took the critical feedback and that they made another ending more suitable for the show, Because if they hadn't, I mean, there were a lot of there were a lot of people that were pissed at the ending of the show, and I mean, I was one of them. I did not like it whatsoever. So I'm really glad that they made it together and made the other ending, because that way Bonnie and Robert ended up together, Ted and the mother, and she lived. So yeah, therefore I found it was good. But regarding that whole fact, the entire show, it has some good storylines, some are better than others, of course. And I mean, one person that really sells the show for me is Neil Patrick Harris, which portrays Barney. Because I think that if he was not in the show and it was around the other five people, it would not have lasted as long as it did. Because he's really the main character that makes all of the funny jokes, and he's the one person that you know are gonna make you laugh when he's on screen. Because the other ones, sure, they had their bits of comedy as well, but they're not nearly as good as Barney is as a character. So if not for that character, I don't think the show would have succeeded as well as it did. And so therefore I give a lot of credit to both Neil Patrick Harris and also the writers that came up with this character of Barney. And yeah, he really makes the show stand out for me. Because even though it's supposed to be about, Ted's supposed to be sort of the main characters as he's the one narrating everything in the future, telling his kids, I didn't really feel like the show he did not make the show the way it was. I thought that was Barney that made the show. And that's just in my own opinion, but he really made it. And he was the one, always the one that made me laugh the most when he said something or did something. So they even have in one episode they have this funny thing where they call it the Murtaugh list, and they bet that Barney can't do everything on this because he's too old, and Ted does an opposite list where he's going to do a bunch of old people stuff because he can't wait to be old, and they sort of they make this so funny because Barney's all like, yeah, you almost have to see it for yourself. It's so funny. And another great episode, probably one of my favorite episodes throughout the entire series that I watched so many times, is called Blitzgiving, and it's in the 6th season. I believe it's the 10th episode, and it's about how the group is about to spend Thanksgiving, and they bring in a guest character, and I don't remember the actor's names, but he's the one that plays Hurley in Lost. So he's just a perfect guy because he's so funny, and the entire episode is about how he's cursed, and this is a curse that's carried on from generation to generation. And it's basically whenever this person leaves the room, something amazing happens. And they play through this throughout the entire episode, and they switch the blitz from person to person and make them feel how it feels. And it's so funny because in one part of the episode they make I believe Barney is the blitz, and he leaves the room and then all of a sudden they decide to flip a coin, and it lands sideways standing up, and when Barney comes back it falls down, and they say, dude, when you left, the laws of gravity disappeared and laws of awesomeness entered. And I mean, this episode is so enjoyable. I've watched it so many times I cannot even count. It's just one of those episodes I can watch so many times and I never get tired of it. Yeah, and there are other episodes as well, but this is my all-time favorite episode in the series. Alright, so let's get down to the rating of How I Met Your Mother. I would rate it at I would say a 6 out of 10. I know it's a bit low or high, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but in my opinion it's a 6 out of 10. Because I felt like it was a bit too long, but I mean the character Barney made it, so if he had not been in, as I said before, I probably would not have continued watched it, or I don't even know if it would have been that successful as it was. And the main reason why I rate it so low is that I did not like the original ending. I mean, I know they made up for it in the DVD, but still that they aired that ending, I did not like it whatsoever, and therefore it's a 6 out of 10 for me. So, as always, if you have any questions or anything you would like me to review next, just leave a comment down below and I'll see what I can do. Until next time, bye!